No, I'm not a fan of XCOM. Too difficult for me. I played the very first one and I literally couldn't even beat the very first, like, well, I don't know if you call it a tutorial, whatever the fuck it is. Like, I couldn't even beat the first match, whatever you call it, in the very beginning of the game. I literally, I could not get past it. And I tried and I tried and I tried and I tried. And it was just, I was just disgusted at how difficult it was just to pass whatever the first engagement you call is in the game. Like, you start up the game and the very first engagement that's teaching you how to play, I kept getting my ass whooped, couldn't figure it out. And so I have never gone back to it since. Not a fan of XCOM. No. Like, it was like mission fail, like you game over, mission failed. That was what I had going on. Well, hey man, if you like it, that's cool. Awesome. Keep playing it. First game left a really sour taste in my mouth. And I'm not a fan at all. It's like one of those kind of obscure games anyway. Like, a lot of people know the name, but most people haven't played it. Most people that I have talked to anyway. No, I don't want your help on it because I have no plans on playing that game at all. I don't want to play number 1, number 2, or any other game XCOM related. The story seems cool, but I haven't played it enough to know what the hell the story is about, so there's that. You know, sometimes it's cheaper to replace parts rather than purchase a whole new computer. And sometimes there are games that have requirements that would only really need you to change like one component of your PC. So I would definitely look into that if I were you. No, I don't play 7 Days to Die. I haven't felt that what the game offers for content is worth the price. So I haven't played it. I've never played it. I've watched some people play it. I'm not very impressed by the graphics. And it also seems like a really heavily, it seems like a really big multiplayer type game. I'm not too big on multiplayer. Because games that are often focused on multiplayer, it's like all of the content like really revolves around that. And although I like multiplayer, I feel like it has a place. I'm not a big fan of the multiplayer-centric games. They often lack certain elements of content that I really, really enjoy. See, for me, I like games with a big emphasis on action, with exploratory adventure, and very deep storytelling. Very rich in lore and story. I appreciate the games with story to them. Like the emphasis on the content in the game is really just developing a story. You gain an emotional attachment to characters. I do play games that are what I like to refer to as mindless. 7 Days to Die is one of those mindless type games. It's like there's no real there's an objective for you to work towards, but the premise of the game is essentially mindless. You know, just point click, point and click, point and click, point and click, point and click. That's like sort of the emphasis there. And although that's not that bad, it's not particularly what I like to enjoy. There are a few games that I do play though, or that I have played, that lack imaginative involvement or critical thinking for that matter. Seven Days to Die is one of those games where it's better when you play multiplayer, and that's the type of a multiplayer-esque game that I'm talking about. And there's a lot of those. Those are good games. But for me, I need more. I need more than that. For me, there's got to be more beyond just get in there and survive. Yeah. That's why when No Man's Sky came out, it was all the thing, but it was the attempt to figure out what the story was. Lo and behold, there really is no fucking story. It was a bad game.
I'll give you a good price.
I like to say that it's a good game that was poorly executed, and it was just, just terrible. Just terrible.
Put it to good use.
But I'm just using that to illustrate a point. It's mindlessness. I'm not a fan of mindlessness. I think that it was more a game that lacks legitimate content, or at least quality content. It's like I said, it was poorly executed. They said it was going to have elements, and it did have those elements, but they weren't very polished. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, the worlds were huge, but people figured out a glitch basically to help them move along the surfaces of the planet faster, because there's no vehicles. Why would you not have vehicles? It's a sci-fi game. We have a ship, but it's not like a Land Rover, you know what I'm saying? Just small things like that. It's just poorly executed. If it's more like if it had an ending, it had the makings of a story, but there was nothing there. There's no substance. It's like if you were to pour water into a cup and then pour the water out of the cup and say the water's still in the cup. That's kind of how I look at the story there. There was water in that cup, but when you look inside the cup, there's no more water in the cup. There's just residue. That's it. There's just, No Man's Sky has residue of a storyline. It's like a book that has a front and a back, but no pages in between.